Teacher Elbay from Grace Seal Circle 7, Moorish Science Temple, Asbury Park, New Jersey.
All right.
All right? Oh, I forgot one thing. And booklets, literature, we did give you a whole package like this. If anybody didn't get this, please get one. They are a take one, has them in the back. And afterwards, we'll have a table here for literature, both books and DVDs.
Peace, Islam, and Hotep. Peace. We present to you today a lecture on correcting the concepts of so-called black history. As many of you already know, the term black as an adjective describes. It is improperly and misused as a noun. So what we want to do is understanding how we correct status, history, identity. It comes through the language. It comes through grammar. That's some teachings that was missing from us, or miseducation that was put on us coming through the school system. Because the Board of Education and the curriculums that they have in school, most of it was put there to dumb us down. So we understand that the language keeps us from understanding true history. What I first want to do is go through, I'm going to go to question 85 in our questionnaire for Moorish children by the Prophet Noble Ali. And this will help us understand some things, and we're going to relate it to the political aspect of what's going on. It says, name some of the marks that were put upon the Moors of Northwest by the European nations in 1774. The answer, Negro, black, colored, and Ethiopian. So once again, we're going to examine this. Negro and black. Negro has been used as our identity and as a name for a group of people. People that are referred to as Negroes have no descent names of their forefathers. They have no national flag, which means they have no history. They have no constitution, which means they have no government, which means that they have no citizenship or status. So another term they would give to that is vagabond, refugee, which has been used in this Katrina demonstration out in Louisiana. That's just another name for Negro. See, Prophet Noble Ali explains that these are tags or brand names that was put upon a group of people. But that's not who they are. And they were never these people. They're tags or brands. So we're going to go further. Black. Franchi, can you look up the word black for us in the Law Dictionary? The Law Dictionary? Yes. We'll look it up. When we're studying and cross-referencing and examining words, we always want to refer to older literature, older dictionaries. At least 4 to 5 dictionaries is needed for this type of study because they hide information, true definitions of the word in the older dictionaries because it's a different language. Concepts create a language, and we must understand that. So we must examine what language are we speaking. When we define a word, that's defined pertaining to a concept or a certain language. But it does not necessarily mean that that's the definition of it. So I have here old unabridged Webster Dictionary, Universal from 1930.
And references here, it starts with black acre, white acre. I'm going to get this
Islam,
reference.
go ahead.
Yes. Black acre and white acre. Fictitious names. This is law. Fictitious names used by the old writers to distinguish one parcel of land from another, to avoid ambiguity, as well as the inconvenience of a fuller description. Now this deals with, as you already understand, dividing the land, but it's fictitious. It's also how they've been stealing the lands of our families. Just want to point that out.
And here we're gonna black as an adjective. How is that defined with part of speech?
Not in the law dictionary. Just
All right.
it gives the definition,
The definition.
the legal definition.
Another way of when you're examining and looking up words, you always want to look at the part of speech, because that will let you know how it's being used, and this will show you where the miseducation was at, because we use words in the wrong content. Black as an adjective. Of the darkest color, the opposite of white, a surface perfectly black is absolutely incapable of reaching light. But the word is often used with less precision to signify very dark in hue, and as applied to persons more or less dark in skin or complexion, destitute of light or nearly so. The darkest color, and this is as a black as a noun, the darkest color of, or rather the negation of all color, the opposite of white, a black dye or pigment of hue produced by such as this cloth has a good black. Going down. Black is a verb tense. To blacken, to make black, to make incapable of having light. Now, you know that light is associated with knowledge. That's another term for light, it's knowledge. So if we look at that and really examine what is really not being said to us, is under the identity of black, you have no knowledge, you have no wisdom, you have no understanding. So politically, that comes under civil liter mortuus, which is in Latin for dead in the eyes of law. Under that, it has the word blackamoor. Blackamoor is defined as a noun. The definition of blackamoor is a Negro or a black person. So now we go back to the questionnaires. Negro, black, these are the brand names that was put on the Moors. Negro, black, color, or Ethiopian. These are not all the brand names that was put on us, but this was just some of the brand names, the most popular brand names besides the term Indian. Now we know Indian, and they give all the credit to the Aborigine indigenous people of the land and call them Indian. Now we must understand that the Moors, or the Moorish nation, is the Aboriginal indigenous people of the land. Indian still describes the Moor, but it's not the Moor. The reason why I say that is because the root word of Indian is indigo. That's where it is derived from, which simply means dark. So when they use these terms, they're just describing a dark-colored people, melanated people. But see, they give us a bunch of names to describe us, but it's never the true identity of us. So we all adopt different ideologies of who we are, and that keeps us diversified amongst ourselves, because I might call myself Indian, you might call yourself something else, Cherokee. And then it gives off the appearance that we're two different people and come from two different places, when we really don't. But the concept of what we're saying makes us distinct. far as pedigree wise. That was used to dumb us down and to separate us. Number 86 says a Negro, a name given to a river in West Africa by Moors because it contained black water. Now, this is not the political definition of that, but to give a brief on why this is so, is once again, in Latin, which is our true language. Latin is our true language. The first origin, or the original language. The word Negro in Latin means dark or black. So when they refer to certain things as Negro, they're referring to a shade, a color. Negro just means black. But it's still not an identity of a people. It's a color. So when Latins use the term Negro, they're not talking about an identity of people. They're talking about color in that particular language. When it's used in this translation of different dialects, because this is not English that we speak. This is a different collaboration of different dialects that was put together from Latin, Arabic, Semitic, different languages put together. So we misuse the words because the language is not clear. All of this is rooted in the language. It says, what is meant by the word black? The word black, according to science, not according to language, not according to different concepts, not according to the nationality of the people, the word black, according to science, means death. It told you that in the unabridged dictionary. It says the negation of color, the absence of life, a light, and light is life. So there's no life in black. We got to understand what goes on with the term black according to science. Now, Noble Ali qualified it. He said, according to science, it means death. So anything associated with black is associated with death. The absence of light or life. It says, what does the word colored mean? Colored means anything that has been painted, stained, varnished, or dyed. Can a man be a Negro, black, colored, or Ethiopian? No. Why? Because man is made in the image and after the likeness of God, Allah. And you can refer to the questionnaires, which also is termed the 101s, that you will find in the Moorish Science Temple of America. Now, to break some of this information down, when we talk about so-called black history, you're talking about a time period between roughly the era of time of 1774, 1779. And it lasted roughly around to the year 1865. During the time of what you would call slavery as the Inquisition period. But we know that it's still going on today, and it's being bureaucratized. So people are under the concept that, oh, we're not in slavery no more. Slavery, that's been dealt with. Some even say, well, the Constitution abolished slavery, which conceptually wise it did. The Constitution of 1774 declared all men equal and free. Politically, on paper, and agreed upon by the different nations that came together, the slavery will be permanently abolished. But then they had to use technology and the theft of the identity and the nationality to keep us in bureaucratized slavery. Is what we suffer today, and it's through the language. So these brand names, African, Negro, colored, coon, All these brand names was put on us during the time of the Inquisition periods. And we adopt this today. So, if our concepts is not straight on what exactly black is and what African American is, there's no identity, there's no pedigree, there's no descent names behind this, so we're still talking about his story. We're never talking about our story. So history does not pertain to us in the concept that we think it do. See, one thing we must do, and this is very important, in understanding how to correct our concept, is to understand what was put on us, how it happened, why was it done. We are the original inhabitants of the planet Earth. And this is no secret. The Europeans were colonized themselves. And they were brought over here during the time of slavery as well. Because we were the first slave holders. So we enslaved the Europeans first. So there's a lot of history behind what's going on and why we even suffer what we're suffering now. Prophet Noble Drew Ali said that every nation has suffered slavery due to the fact that they did not honor their foreparents. And that's what we're suffering right now. It's nothing personal. It's nothing directed towards European or other nationalities. We suffer from ignorance of who we really are. And it's something that we did to the Europeans as well when we brought them over here and traded them their personal labor, their personal energy away for different spices, back and forth to Morocco. That's what also what the Moroccan Peace and Friendship Treaty was all about, of 1787. That's what the Civil War was about. About us enslaving our own. So we must understand this, because we can't get out of this until we understand these principles. Because we take it personal and we deal with emotions on why we go through what we go through. And we keep reinventing the wheel because we don't never really correct the issue, because we still do it to each other. Prophet Noble Drew Ali also says that if you're not careful, your own brothers will keep you in slavery. And that's what's going on as well. Just from ignorance. So the slave trade took place up and down the Barbary Coast. That's where you hear the term Barbary powers from. Then you have the Barbary Treaty. All this was to stop slavery. So, finally, the Constitution of 1787 came about, the adoption. Because under the Confederations, all the parties wasn't involved in that union. They were rebelling. There was still war going on. So the union, the adoption came about in 1787. All the states agreed to come under a federal venue. So a federal government was established. Now you have the different Iroquois tribes and confederations, the different nations, the different indigenous tribes. And you also had the Europeans that were entitled to their own government structure. Because we were enslaving them and we kept them under bondage for so long. So they were entitled to be free as well and govern themselves. So we had to teach them government, which is, i.e., is masonry. So we taught them masonry to civilize them, to teach them order and religion. Because religion in its proper content is law, order, and governmental principles. That's true Masonry. Then when you hear the term Masonry or Masonic, automatically associate that to government, because that's what it is. And people that don't understand Masonry don't understand government. We're not talking about Masonry from what the Europeans has classified it as being part of a fraternity or a club. But your citizenship, your nationality is all based on Masonry. Because another concept of Mason means mother-son. You are from your mother. That's your nationality biologically. So the question is, what part of Mother Earth are you from? So if someone say, are you a Mason? And you say no, you're saying that you don't know who your mother is. Biologically, not what the fraternal people classify it as. We need to understand that because it's semantics. It's true semantics behind what's being said and what's being done. So the club part of that is the fraternity, which is the membership, because citizenship means membership or membership. Citizenship and membership is the same word. The key is, what are we members of? What are we citizens of? When we use the brand names Black, Negro, Colored, we're not members or citizens members or citizens of anything, or any political body, or any nation. We're not even citizens, or we're not even members of the 14th Amendment. Now, the 14th Amendment of the United States Constitution is the 3/5 clause. That's for 3/5 of human beings. Chattels, slaves, vagabonds, people who has been branded, stateless persons. Because the 14th Amendment itself is based on the U.S. democracy, or the Union State Society. And we can never be members of the Union State Society. Dred Scott versus Sanford explains that. 1857. And Grand Sheik Taj will go into that. But we can't even be members under the 14th Amendment. But they have us classified under that, and we agree to it each and every day by receiving the corporate documents and not challenging it, through the misuse of the driver's license and not challenging it, through the birth certificate and not challenging it, and through the Social Security card by not challenging that. All of these corporate contracts push us right under the venue of the 14th Amendment, which is fraud, because we can never be members of that. But being that we don't state a claim, state a status, we don't claim our forefathers and our foremothers, they squeeze us under that classification. It's like a miscellaneous file. So being that we don't classify who we are, they say, okay, well, we're going to stick you over here in this file, and we have laws that we use for people that's in this file, i.e. the Christian Black Codes of 1724. And those who's not familiar with those codes need to get familiar with it. Because all of these codes dealt with the black codes, Christian black codes. The black codes is for the status of black people. So black people is not an identity. It's really a status, just like white is a status. And in the definition of black, it told you the opposite of white. Now, white means pure, or purity. Purity means God. God means ruler of the land. So the true ruler of the land is the white man, which is a status, still not an identity. So you look at the reference in the Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition, it has the term free white person. look that up for us, man, Sheep?
Yes, free white persons.
So free white person is a status. So if they tell you black is the opposite of white, and black means death, then automatically know that somebody switched places with us.
Free white persons.
Islam.
Islam.
Want to read that for us?
Islam, free white persons. Third edition, Henry Campbell Black's Law Dictionary, Ancient and Modern Jurisprudence. Free white persons, as referred to in Nationalization Act, as amended by Act July 14th, 1870, has meaning naturally given to it when first used in 1 Statute 103C3, meaning all persons belonging to the European races, then commonly counted as white, and their descendants, including such descendants in other countries to which they have immigrated. Free white persons includes all European Jews more or less intermixed with people of Celtic, Scandinavian, Teutonic, Iberian, Latin, Greek, and Slavic descent. Free white people includes Magyars, Lapps, and Finns, and the Basques and Albanians. Free white people includes the mixed Latin, Celtic, Iberian, and Moorish inhabitants of Spain and Portugal, and the mixed Greek, Latin, Phoenician, North African inhabitants of Sicily, and the mixed Slav and Tartar inhabitants of South Russia. Free white people does not mean Caucasian race, does not mean Aryan race, does not mean Indo-European races, nor the mixed Indo-European, Dravidian, Semitic, and Mongolian peoples who inhabited Persia. A Syrian of Asiatic birth and descent will not be entitled to become a naturalized citizen of the United States as being a free white person. Ex parte Shahid, DC 205 F 812 813, United States versus Cardazillion, and that is DC 6F 2nd edition 919 921 Ex parte Dow DC 211 F 4 86 487 In Re NSK Song DC 271 F 23. It's a status. It's not a complexion nor it's an identity. And so you need to know that so you understand when those words, white people and black people, is passed around, they're dealing with a status, not an identity. They didn't tell you that because they didn't want you to know that it was a slave brand.
Wow. So you see the difference it made, and they use the word naturalization. And that's a key word that we have to use because you heard me mention the word nation being nationalized. That's nationalization. But they use the term naturalization. There's a difference. And we want to explain that. Because those who are naturalized, and the only ones that can be naturalized, are aliens. When I mean aliens, I mean foreigners of different nations. So if you're being naturalized, then that means that you're agreeing to be alien of that nation already. So it's a contradiction for the natural people of the land to be naturalized, because they already are who they say they are. So they have to nationalize, which means to claim, or to proclaim, or to just declare who you are. Not to be naturalized, because that determines that you were a part of another nation at another time. So to denaturalize means that you have to first expatriate from another nation or another country. And then you're asking for political allegiance in another nation or another country. So under the definition of free white persons, they told you the natural people of the land, or the freeholders, are the white people, which are only the Moors. Because the only ones that hold true nationalization or true citizenship here in North America are the Moors. And if anyone wants to be nationalized here in this continent, which is a misrepresentation, and we're going to explain that as well. Because you have North, South, and Central America, and the adjoining islands, which they keep saying is foreign to America. And they classify this as two different continents. when this is truly Morocco, and we are descendants of the Moroccans, the true Moroccans, not the inhabitants of Morocco across the shore. It's a misrepresentation. They're not the true Moroccans. They have other nationalities. They're mixed. Just like the definition was just telling you. So they're not the Moroccans. We are. So nationalization only can be done properly and lawfully through us. That's why Noble Drew Ali established the Moorish Science Temple of America. Those regencies are set up to confer nationalization to the natural inhabitants of North America. And without a nationality, there's no history, because there's no nation. There's no other body to trace it to. There's no flag to trace it to. So you have Europeans that comes from collective nationalities, were naturalized here by way of the Constitution of 1787, and have limited authority here on what they can do in this government. And they turn around and confer identity and status on the natives here. Lawfully, that can't take place. But legally, it takes place because it creates a contract. And contracts make law. And all law is contract. So with your consent, they can classify you in the books under a certain status because you agree. And then before the nations of the earth, that becomes a valid contract because they have your consent that you agreed to be black, Negro, colored, or African American. So once they have your consent, now they can legally put bond on you. So they go ahead and place liens on you. And the liens is done by way of the Uniform Commercial Code. It's called the UCC 1 Financing Statement. And those of you who deal with commercial law understands what that means. Anytime you register and title an automobile, they file a UCC 1 financing statement against the VIN number. Means that they legally own it. No matter how much you think you paid for it. A house, go get a mortgage, go get a loan, to buy a house, they file a UCC 1 financing statement. Same thing they do with a birth certificate, because it represents stock and collateral. The individual becomes the collateral for a national debt that the corporation U.S. is in debt to. So you become a debtor. And a lien, a bond is put against you just by the lack of understanding of who we are. So then they assign a social security number based on that birth certificate. All of this is related to the bond. That's collateral for a debt that is owed to England. That's how they bureaucratized slavery. We turned our will over to another. So we don't have our own will anymore. Our energy is being regulated by the Romans because we're not challenging it. We're not challenging the misrepresentation of so-called black history. That's the issue. So the bond creates what you call a straw man person, or even the word person, because the word person means corporation. Never use the word person applied to a living, breathing sentiment. Never relate. If you're going to use the word person, qualify it and say natural person. You have to make a distinction. We have to correct the terminology. When we speak, we have to correct our terminology in order to teach others. You have natural person, you have artificial person. The artificial person is the corporation. The natural person is the freeman, or the free man. And if you look into the Constitution of the United States, it tells you the only ones applied to use the Constitution or qualified is a free man. So you have to be a free man in order for the Constitution to protect and secure your rights, your inalienable rights. A corporation doesn't have inalienable rights. So if you're not answering up to the Constitution by name and principles, it cannot protect you. The nations of earth cannot protect you, because the nations of the earth do not recognize Negro, black, color, because it's not an identity of a people. The nations of the earth only recognize people as their relationship to nations. That's it. That's why you have what you call the United Nations. Used to be called the League of Nations. But the key word is nations. So the question is, what nation are we a part of? If we can't claim a nation, then we can't claim to be natural people. It doesn't exist. So the key word is nation. Root of that is natal, or nativity, which goes back to mother or water. When she gives birth to you, you've just been nationalized. We need to understand that. Then we can make our connection to the land and reclaim the land, which is our lost estate. And that's how we regain our sovereignty, by correcting our concepts first. Once our concepts is corrected, then we can start reclaiming everything else that comes in line with it. And with that, I bring Grand Sheik Tarik to reclaim.
Sister Beverly, is that Random House Dictionary right there? Should be one somewhere here. Not on the table, underneath, it's in the store. Now, we're going to go to a grade school lesson. Let the Queen read it. Let the Queen read it, because it's important for us to have some energy from the sisters.
That's right.
Now, grade school lesson. Right? I'm going to show you what's available to anyone and why they have fun talking about us as a people and saying we don't read. Right? You got grown people that think there's something relative to civilization called black history. You've got a lot of scholars that write quote-unquote black books. I'll show you why the world has little respect for such people, in spite of how much finance they got, what their status is. That's an ordinary dictionary, right? Did I give it to you? It's already in your store, right? Got encyclopedias over there, right? Now look up the word black. Unabridged dictionaries will give you a little bit of etymology on the word, which means the history of the word. Now, children, 3rd grade education. They will teach them in grammatication parts of speech, 8 parts of speech, correct? They'll start children off by dealing with something that the children relate to and say, coat, proper noun. That's a noun, not proper, but it's a noun. Then they will go to the modifier and say, green coat. So an adult recognizes that that object is not a green. That object is a coat. It can be red, it can be black, it can be orange, it can be pinstripe, it can be polka dot, it can be plaid. It remains a coat. That's its identity. Move from that and you can lose it. Black. What part of speech is it?
It's an adjective.
Oh. So that means it's not a proper noun. Am I correct? So now we got scholars writing black books. We haven't even gone through the definition, have we?
No.
Have we?
No.
And this is a bookstore, right?
Yeah.
Huh? People read, right?
Yeah.
And a dictionary, right?
Yeah, dictionary.
Part of speech again? So that's not a noun, is it?
No.
Can that be somebody's identity?
Not
Does it take a scholar to figure that out? Now you see why nobody respects these people here? Then they take that and make it retroactive in history, which is a fraud. Fraud has no statute of limitations. No matter how many generations you practice it, it is color of law, isn't it? If I have two plants up here, is that plant up there? Pretty, isn't it? It's variegated, isn't it? Do y'all come in there and water that every week?
No.
How come you don't?
Doesn't need water.
Why doesn't it need water?
It's artificial.
Oh, in law that's called color. Now, do you know what colored means? And our people keep saying, these same so-called black writers, talking about rights of people of color. You know what they just said in law? These artificial people have rights. How does the civilized world receive that? Either that person's an idiot, an imbecile, or a fraud, or somebody trying to get a what? A benefit. Sticking their hands into an account that don't belong to them. And then they get rejected, and they accuse the civilized world of prejudice, don't they? So that means they don't understand what's really going on, do they? And other people from other nations sometimes get frustrated with us. Say somebody come from the islands or from someplace else that have a nationality and honor their mothers and fathers, and then they come here amongst these Asiatics, and we keep trying to put that black thing on them. Then when they do like that, we call them racist. Well, they're not giving up their birthright because we gave ours up. But somebody needs to tell us so we can understand that. And so we can turn our hearts back to our mothers and fathers and reclaim the birthright. Now that same book is an etymology. That's why you don't use pocket dictionaries. You use unabridged dictionaries. Now go in the etymology of that word and go down where that black is, and you notice it gives you compound words, right?
Yeah.
We're going back to third grade. Compound word is two or more words put together to make another word. Am I correct? What do you find down there in the first compound?
Black belt.
What else?
Black arm.
Say it loud so they can hear it.
Black arm.
What else?
I see black ball.
What else?
I see black bandit.
What else?
I see black bass.
See?
Black bid.
Yeah.
Black bear.
Mm-hmm.
Black, I guess, black belt.
Mm-hmm.
Black bile. Black bird.
Mm-hmm.
Black book.
Now go right back up to black in its original form, that adjective, and look directly under it. And give me the compound word.
Directly under the word in the dictionary.
See black?
I see black.
Where it begins.
Where it begins.
Go all the way to the beginning where it first start entering the dictionary.
Yeah.
Look at the first word under it, compound.
I don't see one. I see black and hue. Who wants a dip?
I'm going to show you.
I'm not.
And if it's a good dictionary, it will have it. Where's black?
Black, right here.
All right. Compound word. Right?
First one.
And where did you skip?
Oh,
Now,
black.
back,
Ooh.
read it,
Blackamoor.
and break it down.
Blackamoor, a Negro.
You know what an adjective is? You just identified the black.
The noun.
Adjective. Now, take that compound word, teacher, and teach your babies. Break it down and show what the world knows about you, but you may not have known, some of you do, because you don't read. Break it down, Mom.
Blackamoor, a Negro. Any black-skinned person, unexplained. The variable of phrase Blackmore.
And it separated it, didn't it?
Yes.
Which one is capitalized and which one is small case?
Which one? Negro is capitalized.
No. Down there, it broke it down, shows you what the word means. Black is small case because it's an adjective.
Right.
More is capitalized because it's the proper noun.
Right.
Now, did they hide the identity of these people?
No.
They veiled it, but they didn't hide it, did they?
No.
So now you understand the problem when other people come here dealing with us?
Yeah,
Huh?
I can see that.
So without the honor of your mothers and fathers, you are outside of the law. And transacting business in European names makes you a ward of the state automatically, which is a legal term meaning slave, dependent. and transacting business in European names allows them to put bond on you, which Grand Sheik Nature was talking about. And bond is not a chain, it's paperwork. And that's why when you get arrested, they have a bail bondsman. That's your bondage. But if you knew that, you'd be working to get out of it, wouldn't you?
Yeah. But
But because you thought it was a chain, you thought it was over in 1865, didn't you? That's bureaucratic slavery. You know it, but I just identified it for you. Nationalization is the legal process to put you in the status to begin to take you out of that status, because without the honor of your mothers and your fathers, you cannot be in law. That's why they branded us. And that's why they took the name and the nationality from us, which made us 3/5 person. That's how Bush and them sold that election in Florida. Because them Asiatics voted in European names. They don't know that that's the problem. So they have no plebiscite. But they argued racism, didn't they? You know how the civilized world recognized that? Huh? As people out to lunch. Because there's only one race on this planet called Earth. And it's called the human race. Right, brother man? And the extended family is called nations and nationality, isn't it? So let's look at a map. Say if we had a map up here. You know, like people start talking Afrocentricity, Egyptology. Am I correct? A lot of scholars like to write them kind of books, don't they? Huh? Well, how many nations in Kemet now? Tamari, Kibalan. Because you're in Northwest Africa here. That ain't Africa. You get most brothers and sisters from Kemet, Tamari, and you start calling them Africans, and they'll get mad at you. So that you'll understand what's happening is the reason they know that you don't know who you are. That you're standing in Northwest Africa and think you got to go someplace. Just because they took you back and forth across the Mississippi, which is an extension of the Nile.
That's right.
Truthfully.
That's right.
Because you don't know your history. Because the European families took the children from the mothers and then blinded you with misinformation and imposed the Niceno-Constantinopolitan Creed on you, which we call Christianity. But it's really Flavius Valerius Constantinus, the father of the Roman mental twisting creed. And the same people who lynched the Nazarene been lynching you. That's where the message of Willie Lynch, right in Virginia or Jamestown, that's what it deals with. The Roman codes of isolation that we call segregation. That's what they are. That's what they are. The Roman codes of isolation are coded to the masses so they don't really know what it is. It's called segregation. And you know that came from DAR, the Daughters of the American Revolution. Are we clear? And that's why William Lynch reminded his fellow Romans who were slaveholders not to forget their forefathers and the methodologies of keeping you in servitude. That's why they had to mess with the mind. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's why they have the Trail of Tears. With most of us, we know, we think we know, but those of us, all of us, everyone in this room, will start talking about our Indian side. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's because we're indigenous, but we're not Indians, and this is not India. India is in Asia, just below China. And if anybody's confused with that, I got a Santa Claus suit to sell you. And we got to get clear on this so that we can regain our lost estate and be in the proper status to understand what has happened to us and how we're going to resolve it. If we went to Philadelphia tomorrow on the Parkway, or went in New York before the United Nations, and we're walking up the street, and if you cannot identify your national standard and the Constitution that goes with it, you're outside the law. And you have no standing at law. That happens to our people every day. And they accuse the civilized world of racism. Because they haven't figured out yet that there's only one race on the planet. they have been set outside of it with those brands. So that means they didn't have to hold no gun on you, did you? All they had to do was take the children from the mothers and then teach them they was light-skinned orange people and black-skinned green people and pinstripe other people and go into the mall, buy a light-skinned black leather coat and get a light-skinned black girlfriend and a dark-skinned green something else. And these grown people think that human beings are crayons. How do you think the civilized world looked at people? Meanwhile, they swear they know Jesus. They swear they know Allah. They swear they know Yahweh. How do you think the civilized world looks at these people? They're absolutely idiots in the minds of the civilized world. And then they try to impose that uncivilized behavior on a civilized world. Get rejected and accuse the civilized world of being prejudiced. When the hate is actually in themselves because they hate their own mothers and fathers. Sister Bev.
Right here.
The reason I told you to read that, because it's easier to make people understand things when they recognize what's around them already. Meaning that information was here whether we came here or not. But if somebody didn't point it out to you, you might go to your grave never knowing that. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? But don't you think that educated people around this planet and people that come from other nations and come here and have all kinds of economic success do not know who you are? Because they absolutely do. It's not in their interest to tell you. Why? Because instead of you renting things, you would be letting those things. Do you understand? Letting, which means you would be the holder of the sureties. You would be the holders of the land. You would be, by rightful freeholder status, the lords of the land, landlords. Instead of having the foreign Europeans being your landlord in your own land, building places, building temples, building structures, and having no place to lay your head. Or you understand? Watching your families being systematically destroyed by them taking your men and packing jails with them. And they can't deport them because they're home. But they don't know it. So they can just keep building more jails and figure out other methods of genocide because we won't step up to the constitutional fold of government. Because we've been battered and beat up with beliefs. Somebody's always trying to sell us a belief. Instead of giving you some knowledge to get out of that dead state. I'm going to go to Law Dictionary and read something to you. Let's go back to what Grand Sheik Nature was talking about. Naturalization. Now you notice when I read Free the Right Person, you talk about a Naturalization Act. Well, let's look what naturalization is. Law book. Naturalization, the act of adopting an alien into a nation and clothing him with all the rights possessed by a natural born citizen. What does that say? That's difference there, isn't it? Huh? Now you understand why Noble Drew Ali set up the Moorish Science Temple to nationalize you, to reclaim that which was lost. Now that's naturalization, right? Now, nationalization. The nationalization of property is an act which denotes that it has become that of the nation by some process of law, whereby private individuals or corporations, that means both the natural person and the possession, have been specified or have been for specified reasons deprived thereof. So they stole your birthright. Nationalization is reclaiming that. Are you understand? That's different from naturalization because you're not an alien. Do you understand? To correct your status, you must correct your concepts of history. History and law goes together. They're not separate subjects. If you thought they were, know now that they are not. You are held to that responsibility by the civilized world. And ignorance of the law is no excuse, because the law is you. And if you don't know that you're the law, meaning coming down from your mothers and fathers, nobody is going to tell you if they have bond on you logically. And logically, they're not going to tell you that when they mail things to you with all capital letters, they're talking about an artificial person. They're not talking about you to trick you into making contracts and pacts, and then as soon as you make them, you wondering what's happening to you. That's the straw man. Negro, black, and colored is a straw. Now let's go, the reason we go into law dictionary, because law dictionaries always deal with the mother. And the mother is what a root word is and always will be. So that's the history of a word, and not the connotations later put on that denotation. Identity. Sameness, the fact that a subject, person, or thing before a court is the same as it is represented, claimed, or charged to be. So you see what happens when we go into courts and we're transacting business and we claim to be black? It's not an identity, is it? It's an adjective, isn't it? Now, go back into that dictionary and give me the definition of black, what it really is. And show you also what's in it. So it's important to deal with the root or the mother of a thing. So now you know that it's an adjective, so you know it's not really the people. Read it.
Black is
Read, so make sure that you get on the tape.
black in hue and brightness, absorbing light without reflecting any of the rays composing it, as the type on this page, wearing black or dark clothing, armed, etc. Pertaining to or belonging to an ethnic group characterized by dark skin.
It says characterized, didn't it? That means they're dealing with character, isn't it? That's not identity, they're characterizing, isn't it? Read on.
Pertaining specifically to the dark skin pigmentation.
Go ahead.
Pertaining specifically to the dark-skinned people of Africa, Oceania, and Australia, the Negroes,
Gritos.
Negrotos, yeah, the Negrotos, and then the
Papuans.
the what?
Papuans.
Papuans, okay, and the Melanesians, and Australian Aborigines, soiled or stained
Read on.
with dirt.
Read on.
But that shirt was black within an hour, characterized by absence of light, involved or enveloped in darkness, a
Mental
black
state.
night,
Read on.
gloomy, pessimistic,
Read on.
dismal,
Read on.
a black outlook,
Read on.
bonding ill, sullen,
Read on.
hostile, black words, black
Read on.
looks, deliberate, harmful, inexcusable, oh gosh,
Read
a
on.
black lie,
Read on.
without any moral light or goodness,
Read on.
evil, wicked.
Read on.
His black heart
Read on.
has concocted
Read
yet
on.
another black deed.
Read on.
Oh my goodness.
Read on.
Marked
Read on.
by ruin or desolation,
Read on.
as would be indicated in black on a map.
Read on.
Black areas of drought,
Testify, sister.
indicating censor,
Hit it.
disgrace,
Hit it.
or liability to
Come on.
punishment. A black mark
Keep on.
on one's
That's
record.
enough. Close the book.
Oh my
Now, are you confused about when you go tell people that you're black and you're proud?
That's right.
And you just told them you're a true character, and then wonder why the civilized world reject you when they know you're Moors, but you won't honor your mothers and your fathers that your days may be longer upon the earth land? and you accuse others of abusing you when you're abusing yourself? Do they need to curse you when you're cursing yourself? Meanwhile, the whole world knows who you are, don't they? Huh? And we claim them things, but we won't read, will we? Then we turn around and write black books and talk about this going to save our people. Do you understand how the civilized world looks at us? And we be calling ourselves scholars, too. We got a lot of nerve. Now, look in that same dictionary and look up Moor. It already told you black and Moor who it is, really broke it down till you told you who these people are. Come on, mama, teach your babies. You've been feeding us, now teach us. Man eats not by bread alone, right?
More. I have two here.
Come on.
More meaning a tract of open. Wait a minute.
Capitalize. Read the identity.
The identity is a noun.
Of course it is.
It's showing noun.
Mm-hmm.
A tract of open.
Yes.
Petty wasteland.
Yes.
Open, overgrown with heath.
Yes.
Common in height, latitude, and altitude.
Yes.
Where drainage is poor.
Yes.
A heath. A tract of land preserved by
Yes.
shooting game.
Yes.
That's the first one. The other one is a verb transient, and it's to secure a ship, boat.
Mm-hmm.
In a particular place, as by cables and anchors, or by lines, to
In reference to
externally
navigation.
secure,
Yes.
to moor a ship, small boat, etc., to be made secure by cables and, or the like. The act of mooring. Then there's another one, moor meaning caps. I'm showing here three of them, but the
Yes,
last
yes.
one is in caps.
But that's why you read, right?
And it's a noun, and it says a Muslim of the fixed Berber and Arab people inhabiting Northwest Africa, a member of this group that invaded and conquered Spain
Yes.
in the 8th century AD.
Yes.
Wow.
Keep going.
And it's Moorish. Moorish, a place for mooring.
Now, I want to make a point to you. If you know history, you understand why all the land in navigation was named Moor, because it was related to the people who established those disciplines on the planet. Now, you understand the long ships that Columbus and them was looking at, the people in the long ships that was traveling when they thought that dolphins and whales were monsters. Now you understand maybe some of them old pictures like with Sidney Poitier, and they talk about the long ships. And why when you refer to Moors, you refer to the sextant and the rudder and navigation. That's your forefathers. Now you understand why they don't want you to know your history? Because you once ruled the planet and the 7 seas. They even named the seas after you, and the process of even mooring boats after you. See the danger of not knowing your history? And they got you thinking that they navigated you here on a ship, and you navigated them here on a ship. See where our concepts are wrong? But if you could have read between the lines, they already told you that. See where our concepts are wrong? But if you think you black, you can't go past 1700s, because as soon as you go into so-called black history, the first doctor is in 1800. First scientist is in 1800. The first anything is in 1800. And some of the first blacks that did anything is even current. Am I right or wrong? But once, and look at any scholar, as soon as anyone goes into what is called Egyptology and so-called Afrocentric history, the first thing that occurs with any scholar that does any research, as soon as they get past the 1700s, they go right into Moorish history and will turn right around and call themselves black. I mean, it's true. And give up their birthright right again. again. Do you see the problem? So in order to correct your political status so that you can begin to own property, so that some of you in this room, and I already know what happened to your families, because it happened to all our families, where they've taken your land. The townships have taken the land of your family that you knew was there, and you don't know how to fight it. You got to get back to your proper person so you can start making those reclamations. Because in Smith, Jones, and Johnson, you ain't getting nothing. Why? Because that is property of the state. And any Asiatic that transact business in those names is property of the state. And their offspring are wards of the state. And so all of it is state property. And it ain't the state that you think it is either. It is Europeans. And they got bondage on you. So when we say, as we say with this lecture, correcting black history, and we mean exactly that, correcting that which you thought was black, which really means you have been absent of all moral light or goodness and didn't know it. And the reason I had you read it is because you're here all the time. And so that you can begin to understand the concept, not because I said it, but because if you read it for yourself, you will begin to get the concept of why we are here. And understand that we're not some club giving you some interesting information. We're giving you a knowledge of yourself. That belongs to you whether we came here or not. However, if it's not pointed out to you, you transact business in this world, don't own a thing, and spend your whole life thinking you're owning things. Anything you buy or sell with the mark or the number of that name, you don't own it. The state owns it. That includes the children that come from your womb, state property. And that is not a joke. And when they mistreat you, it is because you're not listed in the human family. You're listed as property. And so they treat you accordingly. And they got bond on you. That's why when you go into courtrooms that you can't speak for yourself. Because you're listed as an Englishman's property. So someone from the Barristers Association speaks for you because you can't even represent yourself. Do you understand? Huh? So identity, back again, law. Sameness, the fact. Fact. You read the fact from the book, didn't you? The fact that a subject, a person or thing before the court, and that is society too, out here, is the same, and that same is emphasized in here and is italicized to make sure that you don't miss it, as it is represented, claimed, or charged to be. So it looks like a plant, don't it? It's pretty, ain't it? You gonna water it? How come? It's not real, is it? Now you see how law does not apply to people of color because they're not real. So let's look in the law book and look what color is. Because remember, these are terms that we all use. And you can also find this in abbreviated form right now on the Bridge Dictionary. And this is important, so keep in mind, we're here to correct black history. But you must do it. We can't do it for you. All we can do is tell you the truth. We can give you the water. You ain't got to drink. Do you understand what I'm saying? But you can't say you weren't told. So when you're out here having problems in the world and in courtrooms and in due process and you lack that, don't get mad because you've just been told. And once you know the truth, you're responsible to that truth. I say take it personal, but it ain't personal. Color. Color. An appearance, semblance, or simulacrum, as distinguished from that which is real. Is anyone confused about what I just said? I'm going to read it again. Take notes. I know some of y'all got notebooks. And I know some of you are already scholars, but it's important. Color, an appearance, semblance, or simulacrum. simulating. Not what it is, simulated. All right? As distinguished, that means a distinction, from, away from, that which is real. So you got all these scholars keep saying, we want rights for people of color. What do you think they just said? Do you see the danger of not knowing the language? Do you understand the reason why we as Moorish Americans, are so much sticklers on the words that are used? And sometimes our people think that we're picking straws. Well, we are. Because it's dangerous what comes out your mouth. Be careful what you ask for, you might get it. And more often than not, you do get it. It's not what you like, though. So I'm saying to you, we must start taking responsibility and not just putting a responsibility on the European occupiers and thinking that they're going to start a program that's going to free you. You must free yourself, but you got to know how to do it. Islam, brother.
Islam, more. Peace,
Islam,
brother.
all right.
All right. Can property own property?
Property cannot own property. That's part of the problem, isn't it? Isn't it? However, you know and I know that many of the people don't know that status must be cleared up. Now, identity is back to that. You also do research in case law and in Supreme Court cases dealing with identity, and it will tell you that identity establishes a person's status in society and their capacity to exercise the rights that is afforded to natural people
Repeat
and the
that.
protections of law.
Repeat that.
The identity establishes in society the status of a person, to make it in layman's terms, to maximize their capacity for development and the exercising of right in society. It's exactly correct. So if our people don't know that identity is that important, because they've been miseducated, so they think they can call themselves anything they want to this year. So last year they soul brothers, this year they light-skinned black people, next year they dark-skinned black people. Other year they call people. And they think it's safe, because no one will tell them that they're violating law. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Well, we're here to tell you to be careful what you put out your mouth. Because as soon as you do, that solidifies the bond against you. And that justifies them doing all kind of crap to you. And the civilized world will not come to your aid, because you're in the dishonor of your mothers and fathers. Islam.
I hear an elder tell me all the time.
Say it loud, because we want you on.
He says, learn the King's English. Is that the same thing?
That's exactly what it means.
Okay.
Because they got you in servitude. Now you understand what indenture is? Huh? Indentured slave. Because that means you are operating as your own keeper. It's called self-enslavement. See, because involuntary servitude is a violation of law. But you can volunteer. You want to be something that you ain't? Go ahead. You understand? See, so we be looking at subject matter, don't we? When we're dealing with issues in law, don't we? And you know, whether they don't like my skin, good, and all that kind of stuff. They couldn't care less. You know, they buy more tanning lotion than you could possibly produce out this river down the street. Because they know that white and black is a status, but they know the masses don't know that. So they encourage you to call yourself black and encourage you to call them white. Just made them the sovereign. Now you can complain because they're acting like God. You the one calling them that. What's the issue? Isn't that a covenant? Isn't that a contract? Are contracts both oral and written?
Sure.
Huh? The law dictionary said don't mean Caucasian race or Aryan race. Who called them white man? Oh. So you just traded places with them, didn't you? Now he act like the sovereign and you upset. Just told you what it really means. But we don't read, do we? But we believe anything, don't we? We spend more time being believers in something that somebody come peddle to us than we will take the time and read a book. To do what? Why is it in all ancient literature, before you even get into the text, they give you that ancient phrase, man, know thyself. And I think you in no bookstore too. Know thyself. So I'm saying that for all of us to be more serious when we sit down and read. To be more serious, to take responsibility to teach our children. Open to questions. Any questions, whatever's on your mind, whatever thought was on your mind, and all the other sandwiches you're talking about. Queen, and then your brother. Queen. Say it loud because we want, remember, always speak qualification so that everybody in the room hears, and always speak to the person in the farthest side of the room. That makes sure everybody else gets it.
I guess the first question would be, as a woman, I'm aware of the straw man, concept of, when you have a child and you have a birth certificate and all that
Yes.
kind of stuff. How do you pretty much protect your child from that?
Now you're going back to nationalization and naturalization. That's why a lot of people get sovereignty information and they're still neutralized because the status is not corrected.
So what I need to first
Nationalized.
nationalize
Now,
myself.
but you need to understand it. That's what you need to do.
Okay.
Understand it. Because without it, all of that good sovereignty information you get is cool. It's data. Because it don't apply to you. In law, it doesn't. So you have no judicial stand-by. That means you start making contracts and using uniform commercial codes to try to get out of things. And if you're Smith, Jones, or Johnson, guess how much that don't count? And if you're not attached to an organized body of indigenous people operating in the culture of your forefathers, guess how much that don't count? And it's not that you can't rock the boat a little bit and they won't recognize it a little bit because you discovered a couple aces up their sleeve. Because you weren't supposed to even get that much information. But you know how that starts rocking the system. And you start saying, oh wow, some power in this. And then you step a little bit, oh, this is really, skates on now. Huh? And then you keep running into these ruts. And what you didn't know, and what they didn't tell you, your status is neutralized. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Because you cannot enforce the laws of nations when you're not part of a nation. You kind of rock the boat a little bit, but it's kind of, they put in a kind of tentative position, so they'll play you a little bit, give you a little bit of comfort zone, but they ain't gonna let you out that box. Why? Because it's state property. You understand? So we must correct black history, starting with the status. 3 issues of law, make sure you write it down. Status, write this down, Queen, because it's relative to the straw man. And you must understand that Negro, black, and color is a straw. And the U.S. democracy is a straw corporation created to take care of the references to the bondage on Negro, black, and colors. That's located there, right there in New York with the bankers. Say this a little louder, brother.
Federal Reserve Bank.
Say it a little louder, brother.
Federal Reserve Bank.
Oh, all right. They got them bonds, don't they?
Yep.
And transfer them all around the world as mortgages and surety bonds. And then we get a little bit of sovereignty information and start talking about we're holder in due course. Then sign it, Smith. Whoa, guess what you just did? Assured that you state property. This is where certain people have problems with the Uniform Commercial Codes when they start using the UCCs and still maintain that negated status of Smith, Jones, and Johnson. Then a lot of Asiatics get a little bit conscious, right? And then they say, oh, now I ain't gonna be Fred no more, I'm gonna be Jamal. Then they say Jamal Jones. One guy with a sneak and a boot on. because the power of possession and inheritance is in the cognomen, not the first name. It's not last name. That last name can be traced to an Englishman, you're state property. And if you take on a cognomen, and it's not to a traceable nation that's traced to you, and you have the Constitution and the national flag of that nation where that name goes, and you can't produce it upon demand, you're a fraud. And you're colored, and you're backing it again. Are we clear? We're talking law now, we're not talking emotion. And we're talking what's been happening to you every day. And so if you get mail from the Internal Revenue Service, which is the bill collectors for the European families, not the United States government, it is the U.S. democracy government of private corporations, you're going to have to pay them your sharecropping fees. And you will. It'll become padlock their property. Because that's all you've been doing is sharecropping. Now we understand again nationalization, why it's important, and also why not many people talk about it. The status. Guess what if you don't fix that? All the other stuff you get with all this sovereignty information is cool. Data. So what we want to talk about is what works. Islam, good brother. And then apologizing to you.
In regard to what you just
Stand
said,
up, because we want you.
in regard to what you just said, is that why the brothers and sisters in New York, there was a period of time that people were dealing in corrections, they were trying to get out of paying taxes, a lot of them got arrested?
Yes.
Okay, I'm clear. Thank you.
Because they were getting certain concepts, but they didn't correct their status. In other words, like this. What they were doing is around family. Yeah, brother, I'm Jamal Hakeem Bey. And then they go out there in the world, and their documents were saying Freddie Jones. You understand what I'm saying? Social Security and all that stuff, Freddie Jones. But I'm Jamal around the borders, you know what I mean? You understand how it works is? Whatever name is on your documentation is your representation. And believe me, whatever your status is represented by that cognomen. And if that cognomen is traced to England, Ireland, France, then you are Niceno-Constantinopolitan property, i.e. chattel. Do you understand? Because that seal denotes your inheritance. Now you understand why the Europeans put their family names on these Asiatics in North America? And why they branded you Negro, black, and colored? It was important because they couldn't put bond on you if they didn't have their name on it. Now whatever you bought or sold through the generations of your family, with Smith, Jones, Johnson, and Whoopi Goldberg, whatever you this week, guess who it belongs to? Now do you understand why all these Asiatics, whether they're sportsmen, businessmen, etc., build all these millions and millions of fiat, and then as soon as they run their course, the IRS is sick on them to reclaim that property, and you can name them from Joe Louis, Red Fox, Sammy Davis Jr., Michael Jackson, right on down the line. Huh? That's what it is. They got bond on those names. Islam.
So do you have to be nationalized, do you have to,
I love the way that you're asking that question, because if y'all can see this brother's eyes, go ahead, brother. Take the wrinkle out your forehead. I know it's stress. Hit it. Because you're recognizing something. Your eyes are saying it. Go ahead.
do you have to, change your name, or can you just
Let's put it this way. You must correct.
correct your name?
A change implies what? An option, but not necessarily valid. Correction
Might not be right.
don't need somebody's permission, does it? Though the correction sets up a change. I'm clarifying the concept for you, brother.
That's right.
Say it again, because I missed it.
Now listen to me. I'm going to show you all something. Mother, if I steal your baby, right, and I put a name on that baby as a title of possession and curse, do I go before the court of the world to do that? then would you come back and go to a court to reclaim it?
Oh, gotcha.
That's right.
A birthright don't need a court process.
Right.
It needs you to stand up and confess your own and worship under your own vine and fig tree. Do you hit that? Come on, brother. Then come back. You come back.
I didn't even have a question. I was agreeing.
Oh, right
I was
on,
there.
brother. Is it that again?
I was there with you. I agree.
Right on, family.
Yes.
Concept, isn't it?
Yes.
And it's not new information, is it?
Nope.
Concept on how that information is what? Digested. That's why we're here, to make sure you digest this food properly. Islam family.
Islam, Mo. Somebody do have to say, I remember 4 years ago when I was sitting where y'all at right now, but at least y'all got the blessing to have a master speaker say something before you come to the temple. I went just from a lead, I met a mufti, and I was selling oils and incense, going house to house, and I knew something was wrong anyway. I never called myself black anyway. I knew that wasn't even right. So I had that conviction in my heart anyway, and the mufti said, well, I know more sounds too. He came out of Our Love Ill, but he said Michigan. I was in North Carolina. I said, I go where I got to go, get to the temple. Right? So it happened, my father's in New York anyway, so I was looking around. Short story.
No, let's make sure we understand it, brother.
Okay.
Well, hit it.
So I went looking for the temple. I couldn't find the temple nowhere. That's why I said temple don't exist until they exist. Now they're everywhere, but I couldn't find a temple nowhere. So I went to the Schaumburg. I went 125th Street in Harlem. Went to the Schaumburg. Asked people about the temple. I said, well, I don't know a temple. So I said, no, let me look at the book. All right, the phone book. I don't know what. I do know it took place. I'm talking from a baby language right now. All right. I opened the book up, the phone book, and I saw the Moorish of America. It's in Brooklyn, New York. When I first got September 21. I called the brother up. It's happened on Friday, holy day. I said, brother, I want to come to the temple. He said, okay, brother. He said, well, ask him to be given. All right. So then I called him. He said, I came to the temple. He said, we started at 7 o'clock. Then I got there. I didn't ring the doorbell for some reason. I just knocked. Boop, boop, boop. He said, open it. He said, knock, it should be open. I went inside. He slid the door, seeking you should find. So I was in the same way you at now, but on the Friday. So the Friday's basically listening. You know what I'm saying? I heard about nationality. I saw all these brothers with the fezzes on. Like, wow, right? Same thing. And then I came in on an angelic form. Because I came and said I was an angel. But they didn't say I wasn't. But I went back to the 101 and said I was an angel. Anyway, right? So I was already in that state of mind. So when you was at, then you come back out, when you sitting right with the brother speaking right now, you may say, well, it sounds good. You know what I'm saying? The brother, it sounds positive, but a lot of brothers speak, don't demonstrate. You know what I'm saying? Then if you one of them scholarly brothers, you're still cautious. I won't listen to this brother, but I'm gonna be cautious. It sounds great, because why ain't no temples everywhere? Right? You know what I'm saying, brother? Why they ain't a temple over here if it's so real? All right, why ain't Farrakhan speaking? If Elijah Muhammad, I praise be to him, had a fez on too. Why he still call himself black? So sometimes it's got to show and prove. But I will say this though, brothers and sisters. When you start getting information, you will be challenged now. So have your spirit right. Because you don't, without a foe, a soldier never knows strength.
That's right.
All right? So I'm just going to show and prove something to you. All right?
On, family.
Now, so I went, my feds, first thing I got my feds on, after I got made. Had my feds walking on 125th Street, Harlem. Dad's met Morris, come up, shoot. Right? So then I met one brother, all right, Raleen. He spoke with me for a brother. He was in the coffee shop, spoke about 4 hours. He gave me the prophet's picture. Then another brother, Sharif, upstate. Like an hour later, we spoke. Then his best friend, Nat Turner. And then Nat Turner's my grandmother's grandfather's son. All right, so I'm his he's my uncle, 4th generation uncle. I said Virginia. All right, so I said, yeah, brother. I said, it's just in my blood. All right, so time went on again, right? So then I went to, now this is this year, not last year. I went to the courtroom, because it's old saying, everybody know who you are except you. The whole world know who you are except you. All right, when the brothers in the courtrooms, right in the court. So I had my feds on my brother, my cousin was going for child support. You know what I'm saying? That's something that you need to get, that's another story. Sukich, right? So then I'm in there with him. So then in the courtroom, I got challenged. Brother, take your feds off. I was always told my temple, I take my feds off for nobody.
Right.
It's my birthright. It's my national headdress. Right? Sir, they try to show off on me. Now I'm staying on my principles. All right, my forefather principles. Because if it doesn't, I'm right there. I say, you know what? Why am I believing something that ain't working? I don't know right today if this ain't real or not now. You know what I'm saying? But I'm still gonna take the challenge, right? Because I'm sick of the abuse. but it's really me anyway for my own ignorance. It ain't the outside word abuse, you abuse yourself, right? So I'm gonna let the brother read. This is the first time I ever shown this in the public view, right? So the judge said, "Come here." I said, "No, brother, I'm taking that." Then the courts, then the officer tried to get my feds off, right?
Come up here.
So I told him, "Nah." I said, "Nah," right? So then the brother's like, he said, "What?" I said, "No, Your Honor." He looked at me like, this guy got me crazy in my courtroom talking about him taking no head off his head. I said, "It's not a head, it's a headdress. It's my national headdress, my forefathers." And I don't know what got in me that day, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't know be that vocal and that real, like, right? So he said, "Well, come here." I said, "Crazy." Woo. Then the Negroes, well, I hate to call them Negroes, but the Negroes in the crowd laughing. "Oh, this guy crazy. They gonna lock him up today. He foolish." Then my cousin, right? So I see him drop his head. He said, "Lord have mercy, I bring him up today." And my cousin's gonna get me sent to jail, right? I said, "I support you though, cousin." So then he put me in the back. Then he was like, "Who are you?" "Who are you?" You know, because so, I'm just being cautious again. I said, "Well, you know, Bobby Rice Bay." Then again, Bobby Rice still is that European name, but the Bay, the prophet started giving you that Bay of the ill, the combinate to get you in the, you know, let you know. Plus they give me Bay, so you told me I'm a governor. I'm a ruler of the land. Then you said a prophet, so I got a title. You can't even get a title. So I'm a ruler of the land. So now ask me, who are you really? So now I have another court system. I know it's de facto anyway, but I wasn't that strong with it then. No, this ain't a real court anyway. It's a tribunal, right? So I always carry my Circle 7 and my Quran questions with me everywhere I go. Because more so now you need to start going into that, because when you go into that, it's almost like it's talking about you. Well, at least that's how I feel about it, right? So I gave the judge, this is my divine constitution of bylaws. All right, and that's the prophet. I gave it to him, boom. I didn't want to challenge DOA, Delegation of Authority, so I didn't want to ask him, "How you got authority with me anyway?" So then I gave the judge this. Now I'm going to tell you, this is real fact. Then I said, well, I always told you not flash your card to Europeans. So it happened he was Asiatic, right? So I said, "Here's my nationality card," right? I gave it to him. And Brother Taj, can you read where he came back after he put me in the back and made a big scene about me?
Yes.
Right? All Negroes say he going to jail today because he ain't seen him come out about 2 hours later. Because he stopped court. Because he was going to really put me through something that day. It was all on me. He stopped court. But this is an order that he read to the
State of North Carolina. In the General Court of Justice, County of Northampton, District Court Decision, File Number 05R45, OS 1096, in the matter of Bobby Rice Bay, order. This matter coming on for hearing before the undersigned Chief District Judge, Court Judge, upon oral petition by the petitioner, Bobby Rice Bay, to be allowed to wear headgear in the form of the red fez during this term of court. The court, after reviewing the petitioner's written material and after hearing from the petitioner, finds the following findings of fact. 1. That the petitioner, Bobby Rice Bay, is a member of the Moorish Temple of America. 2. That the Moorish Temple of America was established in Chicago, Cook County, state of Illinois on July 20th, 1928. 3. That according to the bylaws and faith of the Honorable Charles Mosley Bay, founder and author of the laws of our forefathers the Moors, the Moorish American headdress is the red fez by inheritance. 4. That further pursuant to the tenets of the Moorish Temple of America and the above authority, the red fez should not be removed from the head of a member of such faith. Based on the foregoing findings of fact, the court concludes as a matter of law, emphasized and capitalized, that the petitioner has established that he is a member of a religious faith that requires the wearing of the headgear. 2. That the petitioner is sincere in his beliefs. 3. That the court should afford the petitioner the ability to retain his headgear during this session of court based upon the religious tenets of his faith and his beliefs. It is therefore ordered, adjudged, and decreed that the petitioner, Bobby Rice Bay, is allowed to wear the red fez during this term of the court. Signed, Superior Court, Northampton County, Shelby Picks, Assistant, and that's 28th day of November 2005.
the signature on the back. And before I go,
Yes.
brother.
Yes.
I want to also say is that what the brother said. Once you start, and that's his
Oh,
sign right
pardon.
here.
Yes.
His
That's
signature.
on the 7th day of June 205. Alfred W. Quasipui. That's his name. Chief Justice of the District Court, presiding, Judicial District 6B.
And also, brothers, before I go, it says strong Islam is that once you start knowing your rights, right?
And declaring them.
Declaring them. Now, it's a shattering, it's illusional, it's a shattering process. That's what the prophet I learned. They tell you, learn to love instead of hate. Because you'll start hating if you don't watch yourself.
Yeah.
He said that all these years, I knew someone right. In my heart, now I'm discovering the truth and I know it's real. That even when you get to court and, like I said, operate in your correct capacity, your proper persona, all right, your proper persona as a natural person,
Yes.
and by reading it, now you would go to court like these so-called illusional tickets, which is not really fictitious, because now you natural and they become criminally because they're actually fictitious.
Yes.
They're
have no
fictitious
law.
one. They have no law, right? That when you go to court, your speeding tickets now, I get mysteriously thrown out of court. Two things
Yes.
that happen. They get to you last, because I want everybody to hear that now. You might be in court all day long, like, Lord, I got that all day long, right?
Educate the people in the
They
court.
can't educate, but your ticket will get dismissed. All right? Now, it ain't for the faint of heart now to go through this. You know what I'm saying? After you do it one time, it's like,
It's for you to stand.
for you stand. It's like when you shoot basketball when you're younger, you might try to dunk, you can't dunk, you can't dunk, you can't dunk. You dunk one time, you dunk the whole time then. Because you can feel with the height you got to reach. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not saying that to go in this movement for that purpose. But a sister told me, she said that the system is long and wide, but it's that thin. And one little inch will crack the whole thing open. So I'm just showing you and proving that what the brother is saying is real. It's a reality. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, but the prophet also said that the 4th and 5th generation would benefit which I have brought. So we are that 4th and 5th generation.
That's right, brother.
So we got to stand up. And then also, when you look at all the brothers, look at their age. They right around your age now, 27,
Becoming active. Yes.
33. Look at Marcus Garvey, born 1887. Look at Noah Lee, born 1886. Look at King Selassie, y'all born 1887, I think around the same age. Look at Hitler, 1886.
Mm-hmm.
Islam, bro.
Islam. Now I'm going to read from Webster's Unabridged Dictionary. This is a 20th century dictionary. Now, all right, Moor. Latin, mortals, Greek, black, mortals, Moor. Black or dark, native of the northern coast of Africa. Called by the Romans from the color of the people, Mauritania. Country of dark complexioned people, a native of Morocco. A member of any of the African or Asian dark races. Adopting the Mohammedan religion and history, a Saracen and Arab, a Negro or black. Is that hidden? Is that hidden? It shows you even how they hide your identity in history. So when you read about the Saracens, Carthaginians, etc., Arabs, they're really talking about you.
All the way up into Russia.
You got that correct. So if you don't know that you're Moorish, what occurs in law? Speak up, sis.
Your rights are taken away.
You got it. You waived them. And contracts are not just written. They're implied. They're implicit. Your actions, your demeanor, your character also expresses a contract. So if you don't know yourself and you go out there transacting business, talking about you light-skinned black people and all this kind of stuff, guess what you just did? You made a contract. Are there any other questions? Islam family, stand up so they can hear you.
Being that so many people mix today with bloods of every type, you got.
There's everybody on the planet is.
So what would a mulatto person?
Why do you think mulatto is?
Because it's like
Can you trace the name mulatto and where it came from and
Moor.
why it is established?
the
Mulatto.
spelling of more.
Mulatto. And why that was done. What was the establishment?
So we'll all be in bondage?
No, this is why this one. The European families knew that the true wealth and the inheritance is maintained by the women. Are you understanding? It was important for them to claim the land to either mate or have children by the Asiatic women. That's why they raped them. And if you do the study of the aristocratic families in Virginia, starting with Mataoka, who they call Pocahontas, you'll understand why Roth mated with her and then killed her off Gravesend, so they could start the aristocratic families in North America. That's your mulattoes. So they could get that mix. You see the two white people? Now you understand why they must be mixed? To get that Asiatic blood so they could claim your birthright. And then put the European family names on us so they could take that property too. Do you understand?
Yeah, I got it.
Huh? Well, mulattoes is Moors. Do you understand? It's a trap. You ain't lost nothing. You're still who your forefathers are, without doubt or contradiction. And so through that, they're claiming your birthright. Islam, family.
Islam. When everybody look at me in this room, what do you see?
Family. Islam. With or
What do you
without.
see? My last name is Chin. My family comes from southern China, almost 200 years ago.
That's right.
When I was up in the mountains of China, they wanted to know, why do I have the last name Chin? I said, because my ancestors came from this land. I used to see pictures of Chinese and they were dark as me and I thought they were dirty. Working. No. The indigenous Chinese look like us.
That's right.
Indeed.
They look like us. They're part of the Aboriginal tribe.
right.
They're people on the
right.
island of Taiwan fighting for their rights as indigenous people. They're part of the Aboriginal tribe.
That's right.
Okay? A lot of people don't know that. The government of Taiwan was giving them a really hard time. And you see them in their grass skirts living up in the mountains. And they finally got their right. Another thing is this. We, who are Moors, travel from pole to pole. We built everything. But the best place to hide your history is right in front of your face. So when you walk out these doors, start looking at everything that you were taught in the opposite direction.
Reverse the polarity. Perfect example. Now, again, just like you deal in some of the islands, or you deal with some of the brothers from the islands, some of the Boenquins, Tainos, and you say,
Kenya.
yeah, and they say, oh man, they're Latins, Latinos, Spanish. The language Spanish does not exist. It is a dialect of Moorish Latin. The Roman Emperor, Philip II, declared when they started the Inquisition, 1511, issued a bull from the church. That bull is a law. And that is that the Moors would no longer be called Moors, but would be called Spaniards. And they started to expel them from Portugal and Aragon, Castile, that you call today Spain. And so the language became known as Spanish. And the people that maintained Moorish Latin language were called Latinos, Chicanos, Spanish, Hispanics. It's all a fiction. They're Moors too. And you go to what you call your so-called Spanish community, and you go in their botanicas, and you'll see Moroccan candles that they use ceremoniously today too. They belong to you. And you see Moors on it riding camels. And so when you see what you call the Latinos or the Spanish community or the Hispanic communities, they're Moors, they're your brothers, they're your family. Don't separate yourself from them anymore. And that's your language. We not only spoke Aramaic, Hebrew, and Arabic, but Latin. Even French is a form of Latin, in case you didn't know it. So don't think that when you go to the islands and you see brothers and sisters from Haiti, Dominica, etc., who speak French, that really represents Europeans. No, that's our language too. It's a form of Latin, in case you didn't know it. We gave it to Europeans, they didn't give it to us. So there's a lot of reclaiming you have to do that you may not have known simply because you thought black was limited. Well, it is limited. You understand? The Moorish culture is sempiternal. It is broad. So you better reclaim a lot of things that you thought wasn't yours. See how we got caught in the concept of throwing the baby out with the bathwater? Mm-hmm. Brother Chin is a perfect example. You wouldn't know unless he told you. There's a lot of other people can tell you the same thing. But as long as you play that black game, you're out. Islam family.
This goes right along with what he said. If you visit like a large Chinese community like they have in New York City,
Yes.
then you'll see some brown-skinned Chinese.
And even darker ones.
You ever seen the one
But when
with
they
an afro?
present it to
Hey,
the
I've
world,
seen some like that. It is amazing.
Yeah.
yes.
But you don't see it in ordinary life right around here in
They
Durham
won't
or
display
in
it to
North
you
Carolina.
as far as when they're teaching the people because they don't want you to know that you're there.
The Chinese don't even know who they are. There are people in the Caribbean with lasting like 10 feet. There's no name like that in China. Because when the English was recording their name,
Yes.
the way names are written in China, my last name would be Chin first.
Yes.
That's right.
So you will address me as Chin.
First. And then the
First.
first name comes
Exactly.
later.
So when my daughter was born, her name is Ifia Santua Sien Tong Chin. And they recorded her name. They added everything together. I said, no, it is not like that. Yeah, we're in America, but it's recorded this way.
Yes.
So they played a trick on a lot of people recording names.
Yes.
So if you try to go back to China and you take your name and your name is Pun Tip, your name is not Pun Tip, your name is Pun.
Yes.
That's a Cantonese name.
Yes.
Or you meet someone from Jamaica and their name is Ah Hong. There's no such name as Ah Hong. You will never, your family's name is Hong.
That's right. Comes first.
So I tell people this, and I never knew that. All the way into South America, I tell them, I said, your name is not this. You need to find out where your family came from. When they abolished slavery, so they say, they brought indentured servants from India and China to work in the Caribbean. But always remember, being more, you cannot change.
Is your birthright. Your consanguine pedigree bloodline.
You cannot change it. No matter how you chop it up, dissect it, all it comes back as Moorish. And I see it in China. Qin Shi Huang, first emperor of China. Xi'an is one of the strongest Muslim strongholds in China. It's all there. And you know you're in a Muslim village when everything is written in green, not red.
Yeah, right. That's right. That's right.
The greatest secrets are guarded by the Muslims in China. Bakwa system, fighting system. Xingyi, where they develop systems of fighting where two people put their back together and they now become four.
Yes.
These are the emperor's gods.
Yes.
You want to see it? Watch the movie with Jackie Chan when he comes to America and he's practicing Bakwa.
Yeah.
All he did was put his back to his. Me and you are guarding and enemy crosses the wall and we just put our backs together.
That's where that term come from. I got your back. That's where it come from.
You see, and it's all the sciences. You see it everywhere. This is your birthright.
That's exactly correct.
We have to get away from the only thing Africans identify in this country is this: slavery and civil rights. That's it.
Concept is wrong.
How can your ancestors build civilizations and that's all you know? How is that possible? it's happening everywhere. They like to say it's a long time ago. It doesn't matter. And that's what they want you to do. They want you to believe that. We have forgotten who our parents are
Yes.
and showing respect to our ancestors. I have a saying, I will rely on the ways of my ancestors because it's the only thing that will save me. They left the teachings here for us. So if we don't use it,
Yes.
if you leave $1,000 sitting there, nobody gonna pick it up.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the Europeans did. That's why they understand music and language and art and all these different things.
Yes.
And then they present it to us. And we, wow, this is great. Thelonious Monk. He had to go to Juilliard.
That's right.
Miles Davis didn't have to go. We're like, how does this guy play like this? All of these guys. John Coltrane. Love Supreme. Hear it. You sit down and you really, the music begins to talk to you. Listen to Mozart. They start hiding all of the information in writings and mathematics. They were Masons. They hid in the music.
Right. Yes.
But if our children, all they hear is, that's all you're going to know. So you teach your children the classics first, and they go to one party and they'll get the beat like this.
Yes. That's right.
But we want our booming system. And we want to act a certain way. And that's where they got us.
Yes.
That's where they have us. So, you really have to think and be aware all the time.
Yes.
All the time. You know, a fez doesn't make me a Moor. A ring doesn't make me a Moor. A pin doesn't make me a Moor.
That's right.
What flows in my veins make me a Moor. Anywhere I step on this planet, I'm a Moor.
That's right.
You can take my clothes off, put me naked in the middle of that street, and I have to conduct myself as such. If the sheriff department come and say, "What are you doing here?" I say, "I'm waiting for my fellows to come and get me. How may I help you?" "But you're naked." Says, "You." So you have to think of yourself. If you're a Moor with no clothes on.
That's right. Or with them.
Oh, with them on. So a lot of people think, you know, the clothes doesn't make the man makes the clothes. The next time you see me and I come here, I may be in Chinese garb, I may be in African garb. It doesn't matter. I'm all Moor, no matter what I'm in.
Yes. You know what? I want to make a point of this. Islam. Thank you, Brother Kenya. The interesting thing, as soon as the Asiatics do research in Oriental history and culture, they will find the dynasty plates of Taiwan, China, Tianyi, in Morocco, West, South America, amongst the ancient pyramids in South America, that's older than the pyramids of Giza in Misraim. And you'll find, when you look in Moorish culture, you'll find ancient plates and urns from the early Tianyi dynasties, and vice versa. As a matter of fact, as soon as you start doing the ancient history in what you call Asiatic African culture, you'll find a blending of the two. And you'll find Tarbouche in Tianyi, in all the Asiatic cultures, and you'll find the cupolas, etc., sink-foil windows, etc. And as a matter of fact, you'll mix some of the furnishings, etc., and won't tell the difference unless somebody points it out to you, its origin. Am I correct or not?
That is correct.
But the Asiatics here don't know because they don't know their history. Islam, Queen.
I'm not sure if this question was asked, I just stepped out, but can you explain, not to jump off the subject, but the seven.
Say a little louder so that.
The seven that's in the center of the circle. Can you kind of like touch on that a bit, and why is that circle?
I'm going to explain to you.
Broken up with 4 different
I'm going to show you.
segments.
I'm going to show you.
Good question. Good question.
I'm going to show you. And don't forget, man, she make sure that you want to make a point.
Yes.
Sister,
Oh,
can you stand? Move your chair where you can see. these four corners are called quadrants. The celebration of these 4 points. You got a watch on? Name these cardinal points.
12, 3, 6, and 9.
Right? Three goes into 3.
One time.
3 goes into 6.
2 times.
3 goes into 9.
3 times.
3 goes into 12.
4 times.
So, clock again. Now, do you see your clock? You see your watch?
Yeah, I do. I see something else in there.
This glyph, which it is called the mundane cross, which means the earth cross. This glyph is called also the master's seal. This glyph is also called swastika. This glyph is also called Ezekiel's wheel. This glyph is also called the circle of life.
Astrology.
Oh, indeed it is.
That's what I see.
It's on your hand, isn't it? All the time, isn't it?
Yes.
These 4 quadrants, and back to this. Right? Let me give you another way it's veiled. And I'm sure you've seen that in many graveyards.
The Scottish cross.
It's called also the Coptic cross.
Coptic Church of Egypt.
Oh yeah. Sometimes the Abyssinian cross.
My grandparents.
Or some people don't know, called Abyssinia, Ethiopia. Haile Selassie. Jah. Yahweh. Allah, which is woman, not man. Huh? Glyph of the earth. 9 o'clock, 9 cosmic months of man's birth, right? Is also called in the Bible Esther, Aphrodite, Isis, Easter. And you celebrate when the Son of God comes from the southern hemisphere and goes into the northern hemisphere out of Capricorn into Cancer. And we now say the star is in the east, Eastern Star, which is the cycle that we're celebrating right now. Cardinal point. And so these points 12, 9, 3, and 6 are called on the mundane cross the cardinal points, aren't they?
That's right.
And in between their helpers, here we call them deaconess, don't we? Now you see where they get the cardinal and the deacon from church? But don't tell you what you got? But there ain't no secrets here, is there, mother? So there ain't no mystery, is it? But they do have the people mystified, don't they? So you want to get back to the science? So these quadrants are the what? The 4 corners of the earth. Mundane. Within these quadrants are 3 houses. Aren't they houses? Huh? Huh?
Yes.
Huh? And there's 12 of them, ain't it? It's called 12 disciples.
That's right. 12
Huh?
children of Israel.
In my Father